Frakes.
Weaponism.
Mahogany.
Hello?
Terance.
Anti-disestablishmentarianism.
Will.
Penis.
Jeff.
Someone had to do it. I figured I'd fucking do it, and I knew Jeff wasn't.
Normally that's me, but
I couldn't think of a funny word for penis, and then I forgot that penis is actually a funny word in and of itself.
Penis is a funny word. We're learning all kind of things tonight. All right. Mostly about Frakes.
That's because I'm, I don't know.
Penis.
Yeah.
No, Frank is an eclectic gatherer of knowledge.
And an eclectic dispenser of personal baggage.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to get rid of this shit. I'm shucking it off left and right. I'm sorry that you guys are the front row of the Gallagher show for it, but
should have brought my splash guard.
That's generally what therapy is for, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not being paid for this. I should be charging.
Yeah, but unfortunately, you can't leave unless you want to give up your game, so...
Joke's on you. Whoop.
I'm getting free therapy from you bitches.
My favorite Gallagher stand-up was when he rolled the giant-ass canvas out there and started painting with food.
God.
But that's right. Will wasn't there for the Gallagher bashing, and Will is a fan of Gallagher.
Yes, I am. I think that fucker's funny.
Which Gallagher? Gallagher 1 or Gallagher 2?
Old Gallagher, back in the 70s and
So
shit.
not Gallagher's brother, Gallagher.
No. Hell, I think he attacked his brother for stealing skits.
Well, because he did.
Yeah, I know.
Which one is better? Gallagher 1? Gallagher 2?
I don't know. I can't tell them apart.
Gallagher 2.
Shut up.
My guess
Gallagher
would be
4? Gallagher 3.
Okay, so this is a Gallagher retina test.
Those are very stressful.
Yes. It's just a picture of Gallagher that you have to look at in focus, out of focus, in focus, out of
The
focus.
same picture of Gallagher.
Yeah.
His eyeballs have been replaced by watermelons.
Oh, God. Now we're in SCP's territory. Some anomalous shit going on here.
I think it would be fun to play like a SCP Men in Black story.
I think so, too.
I think Savage Worlds would lend itself well to that, too.
Well,
I
yeah.
think Gallagher would be a good character for that setting.
I wonder if I'm going to look it up. I wonder if someone's written a Gallagher one. If not,
What are you going to make him pick up, Toker?
Yeah, there's that untapped market we've been looking for. Gallagher fans from 2021.
There are dozens
Dozens of us!
Literally dozens.
Maybe less.
All right. So,
Oh, that's right. We're waiting on Terance to start.
for the sake of argument, Mahogany, if I were to call your character something in the course of this, what would it be?
I don't know.
Okay.
I was literally just thinking about that.
All
and
right.
I was going to narrow it down between two things.
Give
And
him.
then you asked me that question. And I'm like, just a minute.
Do you want us to vote on
tell
those two
you.
things?
No.
Can
This
we
is
hear
not a
the two
democracy.
things so that
No.
we can decide which ones
I
I
you
wouldn't
will
chose
tell
wrong?
you
I
in a
wouldn't
moment
trust us either
when I'm ready.
because we're going to definitely choose the worst one.
Thank you.
The Lady Outside. I like that. It's a bit wordy. It's 3 whole words, but I like
Yeah.
it.
You can just call her the lady if your tongue cannot
How about
bear
outside?
the rest.
Hey,
you
lady.
Oh, God.
Ding, 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 ding. Hi, ladies.
Oh, Lord. Lady Outside is Sinister, or Lois for short. No, I don't know.
I like Lady Outside. That's pretty, it's like, it gives a regal air, and it's also weird.
Mm-hmm.
It is
Like
very
with a
weird. All right.
Y.
I'm going with initials. I'm calling her Tilo.
All right. Okay. Y'all folks ready?
Alaric. Okay. Yes.
Then kindly cram it.
You asked us to be quiet, then we all had to watch you drink your beer.
I know.
And hear it. I heard it.
Okay.
There's a gulping.
All right, ready?
Yep.
More or less.
After a successful campaign in the Duchy of Limro, on behalf of the Glagaran Empire, the leader of the famed mercenary army, Drayden Blackrune, has been granted a fiefdom of his own and at last become Lord Blackrune. But Blackrune's ambitions cannot be quelled as he turns his eyes south to the county of Greenvale, his ancestral homeland. So while he consolidates power in Limro, putting down the last of the remnants of the resistance there, he has assigned you the task of laying the groundwork for his next conquest. You are members of the Legion of Terror, and in the county of Greenvale, you are the shadow of destruction. You'd enter down the eastern trade road into the county of Greenvale after a long trip. The coach that you are taking has spit you out in a tiny town on the edge of the territory where you see that there is a roadhouse and an inn and not much else. There are a number of traders parked here and basically letting their horses refill before they go on to the bigger settlements within the valley. And as each and every one of you step out of the coach, let's get a good name and description on each of you. Who's first? All right, then I'll just go with the pictures listed on my screen. Toker, who's your character? Who are you tonight?
I am Valeric Delamos, I'll go ahead and say I'm a Dampier, multi-classed illusionist, for putting that all on the table, and a well-dressed face for the party if they'll have it, but I am focusing on a character who is I did a little short, like, kind of backstory. I don't have to read the whole thing, but basically he's it starts off where there's like a bar and there's these three merchants. The bar's packed. There's these three very well off looking merchants, and they're at a table having a lovely conversation with an attractive young woman, and she's telling jokes, and they're buying her drinks and they're buying her food, and she politely excuses herself from the table. And when she gets to the restroom to realize that she's by herself, she turns back into me, the character I'm playing, where he used his disguised self and illusion magic to basically get a free meal, get free drinks, and get information on which of these three dudes had the most money, so she could then follow them home. He can then follow them home and rob or murder them, whatever is necessary for, coin in the situation.
All right.
So that is the kind of character I am playing. That kind of person, that kind of asshole.
A parasite and a bloodsucker of the highest order. Got it. Frakes, who are you tonight?
I am playing Jib Ankleshake. He is an obviously goblin heritage. I'm playing a rogue, but not that I find traps and disarm them kind of rogue. More of the I climb up your neck and stab you as many times as I can before you die rogue.
I like it.
I am one of Lord Darkrune?
Blackrune. Yeah.
Lord Blackrune's enforcers. And I don't mind getting a little blood on my hands as long as it doesn't get on my suit.
Got it. All right, Mahogany, who are we tonight?
You are greeted by a very regal-looking young lady. Dark skin, hair and eyes of spun gold. She looks like someone that you would think twice before you just approach. You want to approach her with a bit of reverence. Her name is her own, but you may address her as the lady outside. she keeps her cloak up and around her shoulders for the most part. And if you're looking closely, you might notice that her right hand is a bit deformed, maybe kind of like a hoof. And we'll leave it at that.
All right. Mysterious. Okay, new to our podcasting crewish is Will. Will, who are you playing tonight?
I am playing the role of Aragorn, a tiefling alchemist in the service of my warlord. I am a brewer of potions, poisons, and crafter of alchemical oddities to further the capabilities of my lord's personnel. I am the kind of person who will take a sadistic pleasure in tormenting those who have gotten on my bad side.
All right. Cool. And also, last but not least, definitely not least, the most of us perhaps, Jeff, who are you playing tonight?
I am playing Zara Sebastian Bloodscythe, but most people just call him Z because it's a mouthful. He is about a 6'6" tall human ish with red hair, kind of bronze skin, green eyes, has a raven on his shoulder. He's dressed with a long black long coat, has gauntlets on his side, and most people know him as a warrior poet and spiritual sage.
All right. Okay.
And he's also a captain in Black Room's mercenary force.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Jeff, do you still want to do what we were talking about before, or you want to abandon that?
It's whatever you wish.
I have no problem going forward with it.
Okay. We're also cousins.
All right.
Yeah.
Non-identical cousins.
Distant cousins.
All right. The town you find yourself in, I believe, yeah, it's called Golden Road. Looks like it was specifically named that way for its very choice situation on the trade routes. In Golden Road, you see that there is a lot of amenities for travelers. In addition to the inn and roadhouse, there's also two two liveries with a dozen grooms or so out there dealing with people's horses, feeding them, brushing them off, basically washing them if they've gotten too dirty. You see that there's all kinds of people that are there to trade off goods and gear that have gone the long, hard road till you got to Greenvale. Because Greenvale is an important trade route itself. The valley sits between two mountain ranges, just a pretty wide gap, but the most convenient way through the ranges to get to the other half of the continent. You know that you were ordered to wait here in Golden Road, basically until you were contacted by Lord Blackrune's emissary. They told you to find somewhere secluded to set up camp.
Secluded as in not in the roadhouse or in the inn, right?
You're guessing they mean somewhere where you can be behind closed doors more than hidden in the woods or something like that. Someplace where you would have some privacy.
So a room. All right.
We might want to try one of the seedier inns, places where people don't like to go.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, there's only the two inns here. There's the inn, and then there's the roadhouse. Is that correct?
Yes. As far as like the most obvious places, yes, the inn, which just seems a little classier, and the roadhouse, which seems to be mostly for workmen and whatnot.
Does the roadhouse rent out rooms?
The roadhouse rents out rooms in the upper floor. They also, if the people lack coin, they have a communal area above the stables for the really down on their luck travelers.
Wow.
But nobody seems to sleep in the streets here in Golden Vale, and you can see that there's a number of postings where some of the locals open up their homes to travelers in the busy season, which, as you guys know, you're just at the beginning of.
And we all came here in a carriage, right?
Yeah.
I guess on the carriage ride here, knowing that we all have the same orders, the same dispatches, how do we want to do this? Do we want to just take over somebody's house, or do we want to
I find
rent a
it best.
room?
I find it best not to shit where you sleep on the first night.
All right.
The man's got a point. Not to mention, if we murder the house owner just to get a hold of him, people are going to wonder where he is.
I vote for the inn.
Mhm.
All right.
Second that.
Like the classy inn or the roadhouse?
The classy one, of course.
Let me phrase this properly. I would gladly like to sleep in a nice place where they can serve good food, drink, and perhaps female companionship.
Ah, the stables. I like where your mind's at.
All right.
Oh, no, you meant the inn. Oh, like a human. All right.
Your crew certainly gets some odd looks. Very few people are traveling in the accompaniment of a goblin, specifically not one so well healed.
And appointed. Well appointed. I look well dressed.
It's very rare you come across a goblin in patent leather boots.
You wearing a pinstripe suit?
No. Just a nice linen shirt with a leather vest over it.
And a
Oh, okay.
fedora.
In a fedora, yes.
Of course.
Nerd.
Actually, it's a trilby.
Not a trilby.
Not a
I
trilby.
wear
Okay.
a fedora.
Got the full fedora. Got it. Snap brim.
Yes. And a mithril shirt underneath the linen. So sometimes it'll peek out a little bit and it looks like I'm wearing a very flashy necklace, but it's just the line of my shirt underneath the linen.
Oh, the first gold chains.
You've gone full Gabo Guido. Got it.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. You guys head to the inn. As I said before, you certainly stand out compared to most of the mundane travelers who are dust worn and mostly humans. You see a couple of dwarves. A halfling caravan obviously is in town, as they seem to be taking up a large table, sharing drinks and tales. And when you go into the inn, the inn manager looks at you and says, "Well, are you he smiles broadly. Adventurers?"
Yeah, you could say that.
Just a touch of derision in the voice.
Sure. Whatever you say there, boss.
Perhaps, Valric, you should take over here.
Our business is our own.
All right, never mind.
Cousin, my confidence in him has seriously dropped.
So Valric will be like, yes, adventurers, that's a label that can be applied to anyone traveling for coin, correct?
Of course. And I assume you have coin, he says, getting to the point.
Coin we do have. It depends on your accommodations, really.
He says, all right. He goes over to his books and says, I can't give you anything right now, but if you wait until this evening, the halfling party will be gone, and we can clean up the room for you then. It's a communal room, but since you're traveling together, I hope you don't mind.
I prefer my own quarters.
Let's see. He looks down and says, I think we have a single room left, but it's a bit on the pricey side.
I'll take it.
All right. That will be 5 gold a night.
It's a pittance. And I drop the 5 gold.
All right. He quickly pockets it and says, and for the communal room, that will be 4 gold.
I will put my gold on the counter.
Your
and
1
look
gold.
to everybody else like,
And I pointedly looked back at the goblin, and I put mine right on top of his.
I ignore both of you and just put mine down.
All right.
Like, this wasn't even an issue.
I too will slot a gold.
Excellent. All right. So you're ready for this evening, and if you'd like to take your room now, Miss, he turns the ledger towards you.
You may address me as the lady.
All right, Miss the lady. Okay. You see him write down a brief description of you, and then says he hands you a key and says, "Here you go."
I say thank you, and I'm off.
yeah, hey, boss, when are the sawed-offs leaving? What time can we expect our room to be ready?
Well, it's early morning yet. They'll probably be gone by tonight, by this afternoon.
All right.
I'll take another gold and slot it across the table and be like, is that really all the information you have for us about these halflings?
He says,
like the caravan. What are they in town for? What's their trade?
He looks at them and says, I think they said they're textile merchants. They've got a lot of sheep with them. Wait,
wool? These guys dealing wool?
Well, I mean,
fucking wool.
Then keep the extra gold coin to make sure the room is extra clean.
Absolutely.
Because I have
sir.
a feeling it'll smell like farm animal.
Yeah, I don't want a room that smells like mutton.
Good sir, is there a table available for us?
Of course, right this way. And he leads you over to a table big enough for the 5 of you, if there indeed are the 5 of you.
I'm going to the table. I'm hungry.
I will actually walk outside real quick, send Jax off my Raven familiar,
All right.
and have him basically stay on top of the inn and survey the surrounding area, and then come back in.
I need you to make a perception check while you're out there for me, Z.
All right.
You can roll for yourself and the Raven.
Okay.
And we're all familiar with each other, correct?
Yeah, you've had a long trip, and you might have traveled mostly in silence, but it's hard to not talk to people you're going to be working with when you have a spare moment. So you're all familiar with each other in a basic way.
Oh, everybody is familiar with Jeb, because Jeb likes to talk.
You're supposed to be role-playing.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed.
Jeb has been
I thought that
talking.
was figured out by now.
He was talking the entire carriage ride about how he rose in the ranks and who he had to dispose of within the ranks to get to where he is.
So my Raven familiar rolled an 10 plus 9 for perception, so 19. And then I rolled an 11 plus, and so I got a 18.
All right.
Well, actually, with alertness plus 2 in it.
Okay. You and your Raven both, as you're letting it fly up, immediately spot a man lurking across the street at what appears to be a local tavern. He's wearing dusty traveler's clothes, but as soon as you walk out, and look up, you see him stop staring at you and go back to what he's doing. He has a familiar bearing about him, though.
Sense motive or something to maybe help me recognize.
Sure. You can. Do you have knowledge local?
Okay, I've got 18, and that will bring it to 21.
All right. You look around and you see something that you look at him for a moment before you head back in, not letting on that you really see him, or if you do want to let on, you want to see him. Actually, do you? Okay.
Just casual. I'm looking around the area.
The man has a familiar bearing in that he walks like a professional soldier, of a particular kind. The soldiers of the Duchy of Limro had that strange straight-backed walk, where they never could seem to shake, even when they were being hauled away for prison camps.
So, question is, then, is he? So he looks like one from the duchy. We're not in that duchy anymore.
No, that is the
We're in the county of Greenville.
Right.
Okay. Does he look like he? Would it be apparent to a former? I say former mercenary, current mercenary, that is it very peculiar to the Duchy of Limro, or is it something like, oh, he's probably a guard or something for the county of Greenville, just kind of disguising what his actions are so you can pay attention to all the travelers coming?
No, it's very peculiar to the Duchy of Limro. These are people that walk who are trained from birth to walk in a almost ridiculously cocksure fashion, so much so that they can't even seem to suppress it when they want to. Chin out, chest forwards.
Parade marchers.
Yes.
Okay.
We talking goose stepping or like North Korean parade march?
Closer to that second one.
Okay.
All right. I will go back in just as if nothing happened. I'll let Jax keep an eye on him, and then I proceed inward. As I go inward, I will cast message. So me and Jax, if Jax needs to let me know something, he can continue. He can message me back.
All right. You rejoin your companions.
When I get in and we sit, I'll order a beer or an ale, and after the waitress comes and gets my order and leaves, I will let them know what I saw.
Okay.
Are there any restrooms or things like that where somebody can be private in here?
There's a privy, yeah. Or rather, there's an outhouse out back. Sorry.
I'd have to go out front to get to the outhouse, though.
You can. There's also a back door.
Okay. I could go scope this person out.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
I have skills for that kind of thing.
You watch him and I'll watch these dwarves.
Halflings.
There's dwarves too, though.
There are dwarves too, yes, I forgot.
I'm less concerned about the halflings as I am the dwarves, because there is that ancestral hatred between dwarves and goblins. And it is reciprocated.
All right. Before Valric heads out, Z, you get a message from your familiar.
Yes.
3 more on the high street. 2 on the low.
Oh, thank you. And I'll refresh my message. I'll refresh the message so that it continues. Then I turn to Valric. Before you go, you might want to know that there's 3 on the North Street and 2 on the South Street that Jack's just informed me of. And
it's more like morning time?
Yeah, it's late morning.
What's the law around here? Like, is this like Old West where you could gun down people in the street, or is this more of a civilized?
Like the county of Greenvale was at one point known for its lawlessness. It was a terrifying place for people to go through. People only dared it if they were willing to pay the bribes of the arcane warlord that used to rule here some 80 years ago. But
not our warlord.
Not your warlord. However, his direct ancestor was the one who previously ruled this land before a group of adventurers finally put an end to his malfeasance, as they say, and basically pacified the territory, drove the monsters into hiding, let people move in, and made the roads safe. However, the place still has kind of a wild reputation, especially on the fringes. After all, this town is on the edge of the territory. You're guessing that if it is self-defense, the law will side with you.
Does your bird see if they're moving towards the building or not?
I'm sure you'll let me know if they do.
I tell you, Z, I am impressed by that bird of yours. I'm really glad I didn't eat it when I first met it. It's an impressive specimen of the species, let me tell you.
Yes, you should be really glad you did not eat my bird.
Oh, I am.
Really glad.
Well, Valric will stand up and say, be sure the lady is aware that circumstances might get less than favorable here shortly.
Well,
I'll take a position outside.
There.
Oh, I thought you went to your room. Sorry.
No, I don't know what's happening, but I'm right there.
Okay.
I was waiting for a moment.
But never mind. I thought you'd gone to your room.
No.
Yeah, I'll walk out the back door, and as I am opening the back door, I will cast disguise self and look like a drunk hobo. And I'll come around the corner of the building and be like stumbly, and then I'll make gaggy noises, and then I will just sit down next to the building where I can see the street, but I just want to appear like a drunk hobo.
All right. Yeah, you hear a cawing from the rooftop nearby, and you can see the very familiar figure of a raven pointing its beak down the street. And as you follow its gaze, you can see what it was talking about. There are, in fact, now 4 men kind of standing together, and they all are standing with a unusually regal bearing. They are definitely not blending in well, even though they're trying. Wearing rough traveler's gear, they are dressed like drovers, but they are clearly well armed and armor underneath their cloaks. They talk to each other in hushed tones, and none of them seem to notice you there until you see one of them like look up and like guide his companion's vision that way too, where they have spotted the raven on top of the inn. The men think like stop for a moment, and you see one of them just turn around and the others follow him down a side street.
Why, they know they've been made now?
Looks like it.
Well, I'm sure his bird told him that they left, so I will just stay put.
All right, Z. The message you get is 7 in total. I may have been spotted.
That's fine.
They are moving out of they're moving off the street.
That's fine. Do me a favor and do not follow them, but do fly higher up and do a scout about to see if there's any more men in the surrounding area that look like they would match that description. Make sure there's not a lot more than 7. Like there's like a hidden group somewhere out there.
Make sure
And just
there's
let them
no
know.
army camped in the wilderness.
I'm thinking more like bandit group or other companions like them.
Deserters, yeah.
Yeah. And just let me know.
Okay.
And I do not want you to get within bow range or ranged weapon range.
Gotcha. The Valric, out there on the street in your hobo disguise, you see the raven take wing, flying high into the directly into the light of the hateful sun. which is bathing the high street in golden light this morning.
Gross.
But how long are you going to wait out there?
I don't know, half hour, like a good while.
Okay.
I mean, are we supposed to be meeting somebody or something? Like, we're not on a time frame right yet, are we?
You're basically here in town until your contact meets you.
Yeah.
All right. So you camp out outside, keeping an eye on the streets, occasionally belching and farting and making vomit noises.
Mm-hmm.
And
very realistically,
after a while, though, you don't hear anything, and you see Z's Raven return and stop outside the front of the inn, the inn doors. Z, after a good long while, you see south edge of town, 2 wagons, 10 soldiers.
See, that's when I told him, if you didn't want your kid to get burnt, you shouldn't have let him out of the house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I guess we're about finishing up lunch now, and I'm
Yes.
going to go ahead and drop off my stuff in the room because I can't listen to that anymore.
Okay.
Hey, where you going? But I'm just getting to the fun part about how we took over the town.
Elavam does have a slight grin on his face.
By this time, the halflings are taking their bags and bedrolls, and they're filing out into the street again. And you see a number of inn employees rushing up to clean up the room for your party.
I'm sorry, I was muted.
Oh,
I was trying to say something, and then I kept hearing Jeb. So, yes, I let everybody know that there's 2 wagons outside of town that everybody needs to be aware of. I also message Valric and let him know what Jack saw. And do we know which way were the wagons towards the same direction that the halflings are going to go? Or
it looks like they've set up a camp, basically. It's what the Raven relays to you.
okay, and I relay that to everybody.
As soon as you mentioned that there are 10 men outside of town setting up a camp, Jeb gets serious and stops being cutting the fool and trying to be, braggadocious. He just looks to you like, okay. Now we know. Leans back thoughtfully in his chair.
is Jeb's main weapon a baseball bat?
No, it's a knife. It's a rapier, actually.
Valric, if you wanted to respond, you can respond with the message. It's 2-way.
Okay, yeah, that's. I was just trying to think what I was going to ask, and I didn't know if message worked both ways. Did you say that the halfling camp was the same way as the camp that these people are setting up?
No, the halfling camp is or not even a camp. It's just it looks like their wagons were being maintained at one of the liveries.
Okay. I'll tell them I'll maintain my disguise and go scope this place out with the guys who are setting up camp.
All right. Are you taking anyone along with you? Any stealth-oriented characters, or?
I'm real sneaky. I can bring you a bottle in a bag that makes it complete your disguise.
Oh, I'm not stealthy. I'm a drunk hobo.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
I
You're
don't
a drunk hobo.
I don't stealth with that. I stealth with words.
I can keep an eye on you from hidden if you want.
Yeah, you try that.
Do you want me to try that, or?
I'm not opposed to it, but yeah, no, I just did. We're not going to be walking side by side down there.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
No.
I'm talking, we're keeping separate.
Yeah.
I can. Hey, Z, ask him if he wants me to go with him. I can be his backup.
I can accompany as well. I'm capable of not going.
Well, I'll pass on the information to Valric, and I'm going to suggest that me and the lady stays here, but I will stay in communication with Jax, so he can actually see what's going on from up high. Keep an eye out just in case something happens. Let us know.
All right.
And just so I'm refreshed, these people are after us because
they might be a faction of the rebellion from
That's right.
the Duchy of Limro that has trailed you here. You were warned that that might be the case, but you know that most of the citizens and the army of Limro is cowed, except for the very difficult to root out peasant revolt.
Which may have hired the old or recruited the old duchy guard.
Yeah. Which might in fact be entirely led by members of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you, Valric, and you, Jeb, and you, Allegor, each are you two going together, Allegor and Jeb?
No, I'm not going to be in the same. We're going to stagger this. I think probably would be the best option.
All right.
I'm gonna buy a bottle of the cheapest booze.
Okay.
From the bar.
Aha. Old Skinny's Stout.
Old Skinny Stout. So that how much is that?
2 copper.
Oh, I'm not even gonna keep track of that. I'll slide 2 copper across the table, tap my hat, and walk out the alleyway.
Barman says, "Good luck."
To Valric.
All right. Valric.
Here you go, old fella. You look like you need a little bit of a pick-me-up. And I'll hand him the bottle.
All right.
Dash on myself. I smell like an old boozy bastard.
Yeah, and it also has a rather funky, peculiar smell. You can't really identify, like kind of like good cheese or bad feet. How they call this a beer is beyond you.
Oh my god!
I was thinking warm piss.
Yeah.
Oh, that smells great. Let me get a swig of that before you go.
Please.
Old cheese.
Help yourself.
Glug 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 glug, and hand it back to him.
Right.
Ah, that's good stuff.
All right. You head off, Valric, and once you head in the direction that the raven indicates by flying slightly ahead of you, you stumble out of the town and slightly into the remainder of the woods, where you see that there is a number of isolated travelers set up in tents, people who probably either couldn't afford or didn't want to stay at the inns. The camp in question, however, you are directed toward by the bird. And you can see that the men are huddled together. There are indeed 10 of them. And in the back of their carriages, you see that one of them is tossing a bag of like meat scraps and bones that he must have gotten from the local butcher. And you hear some snarling and growling from underneath tarps.
I'm about 30, 40 feet back.
All right.
With a 32 stealth.
Okay. You travel unseen then, Jeb. And what
I got a 21 stealth.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll take out a secondary coin pouch of mine and just put a few coppers in it and put mine back, and I'll start stumbling over to the guys, jingling the bag. Hey, one of you fellas dropped this on you from the tavern. I was hoping for reward and drink.
The men look at you, and what was your disguise check?
27.
27. All right.
Oh, plus 10 for my
so So 37.
37.
Gotcha.
Plus 10 for the spell.
All right. None of them seem to have picked you out. Ben, you see one of the men says, keep the change, man. We don't need coppers.
Well, truth be told, I kind of got cut off at the other place and was hoping I could maybe buy a little from your supply.
One of the men sighs and says, fine. He reaches into the front of the carriage and he pulls out a bottle, a small bottle, and uncorks it and passes it off to you. Here you go. Now be gone.
While he's saying be gone, I'm sitting down next to him with the bottle. Oh, thank you. I can't tell you last time somebody in this town was nice to me. And I just keep rambling on.
Okay.
And then I'm going to try and poke and prod him for information.
Well, the information is honestly in your hand. As soon as the bottle is uncorked and you smell it, you know this is a spirit unique to the Duchy of Limro. A strange beer that is flavored primarily with rosemary. And you've never tasted the like outside of that territory. These men are clearly people that from there. As you sit down, you apparently a whiff of you is caught by whatever's underneath the tarps, and they begin growling and barking so that nobody can hear themselves speak. The man in charge of the beasts back there begins bellowing at them, "Shut up! Shut up!" the man by, if you have slumped over, says, takes you under the armpits and says, "All right, old man, I need you to go away. You're causing our pets to get upset."
Those pets sound pretty mean, but you gave me I haven't had Duchy brew in a long time. You boys come from the Duchy?
What Duchy? Get out of here. We don't know what you're talking about.
You can't tell an old booze hound whatnot. I know the smell of this booze and the rosemary flavors. I'd be willing to bring some money if you got more of this laying around. I don't mind paying.
We're not interested in money, he says, giving you one final shove back toward the town. Now go on.
All right. Well, if you change your mind, and I'll stumble back towards the way I came.
You hear one of them talk. You're too kind to indigents. You know that.
Could Ankle Shank hear the animals growling and barking?
Oh yeah, it's hard not to after a while. They just get so loud as with Valric there.
Can I roll to see what kind of creature that is by the noise?
Sure, make a knowledge nature. You have knowledge nature?
I do. 18.
You know that you've heard this before. In fact, the Lord Blackrune uses these kind of war dogs extensively. 2-headed hounds.
No, fucking dogs with 2 heads. Goddamn dogs. All right. As I see Valric get...
They're sort of hulking 2-headed mastiffs that generally go armored onto the field to harry soldiers.
Really terrifying animals then for a goblin.
Yes.
Who already has a hatred of dogs. As I see Valric get ejected, I will slink away myself.
You, Allegor, you see most of this go down. And finally, you see one of the men who seems to be in charge of the rest as begin gathering his men around. He says, "I have confirmation. It's them." The rest of the men look like they're antsy and ready to draw down and attack. He holds his hands out and says, "We wait. We need to catch them alone. I don't want to be detained after we're done here."
I'm assuming the dogs gave me up.
Yes.
Hold on a second. Let me see if I've got this points into this. Not really.
That and they smelled goblin on the wind.
16.
I rolled a 30 fucking 2.
Yeah, you can't stop your smell.
I stood upwind. Downwind. I always get those two confused. That's where I fucked
So now
up.
you don't know. That's your problem. What were you saying, Allegor?
16 on a sense motive. Are they talking about us? Or are they talking about maybe the
It looks like they're probably talking about you. You guys are the only very peculiar people in town. Everyone else seems to be mundane merchants and travelers. You're the only people traveling here that you've seen that anyone could possibly be hunting. To your knowledge, like I said, you're new to the area.
right?
So-
Well, he's trying to discern whether it was like they're after them or they want to hit that halfling group. Because if they're going after the halfling group, he doesn't care.
No, they're definitely not going after the halfling group. In fact, you saw the halfling group getting their wagons together to head out of town when you were heading this way.
Opposite direction.
No, it looks like they're heading further into Greenvale.
All right, I'll start making my way back toward
right.
the others.
All right, eventually, you guys meet back up at the end. Now your rooms are ready, and you can take a little refuge away from both traveling and the noise of the inn, and now a potential threat in the streets.
Well, I'll wait till they actually come back inside, and then I will suggest that we remove ourselves to our room for a little bit and ask the lady to also come to our room so we can discuss some stuff.
And so we can be ready for whenever Lord Blackroom's emissary arrives.
I come to the room.
Who wants to go first?
I assume everybody comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they got dogs, and they got them two-headed dogs, which I really hate more than the one-headed dogs. Almost twice as much as I hate the one-headed dogs.
So, what information did y'all gather?
They got dogs.
Okay, besides dogs.
Well,
I
they-
take a sip out of the flask, the last of it, and then I slide it over. They're definitely who we thought they were.
and,
Okay.
and they're definitely targeting us.
Oh,
Do
that's
stand
bad.
out.
Seems they want to wait until we're off the beaten path, perhaps, because they don't want to deal with the authorities in this area.
Well, excellent. So that means that we could technically draw them out, not here in town, but like, say, out of town, and draw them into an ambush.
That's 2-to-1 odds there, Z. That's a bit difficult, yeah?
I wouldn't care if it was 3-to-1. Who are you?
Yo,
2-to-1 odds is a joke.
I can take on one guy at a time. Yeah, when I get on him, he's dead, but one at a time. That's how I roll. I don't know what. I mean, I know you're a big shot mercenary, and I know that you've been doing good things for Blackroom and all, but there's
Take
only so
pride
much we can
yourself.
do. I do take pride in myself. I take pride that when I pick a guy, he falls down dead.
Well, then pick one guy and take him dead.
And as long as I can trust the rest of you is not to let somebody stab one through my neck while I'm on top of somebody, then yeah, all right, I'm down.
Well, any suggestions for anybody else?
An ambush is actually a really good idea.
That's kind of
Think
my
our-
go-to.
Our odds are better in an ambush than them ambushing us.
So my suggestion would be, let's scout the area, see if we can find an area that might be a decent place to hold an ambush at. Then maybe set out that way, come up with what would be a good excuse for us to be going out of town per se, not necessarily leaving town, but something that might be a reason for us to like go leave the inn for the night. or something.
Mushroom collecting. I mean, I'm just spitballing.
Terance.
Yeah.
Are there any farms and stuff about that would maybe like horses and different things?
Yeah, you know that there are a couple of nearby farms, and definitely a few people raising horses for sale nearby.
Since basically we no longer have a carriage, we're on foot. We wouldn't necessarily want to go on foot to the rest while we're going in further. So would make sense for us to go look for mounts or stuff for us to ride.
Definitely.
The purveyor of horse flesh. Yeah, all right.
So we can scout a route going that way, and then
fucking horses.
Be aware of what's going on, or y'all want to set? I'm just coming up with this much. If anybody got anything, please step in.
Actually, Jeb will stand up and say, "Well, I know, but aren't we supposed to be waiting on Blackrune's emissary? Lord Blackrune's emissary."
Well, my concern is that his emissary comes in and then gets attacked by 14, 15 different people from the former county, from the former duchy. Whereas
10.
we can go ahead. Well, no, there was 10 at that camp. There was also 4 plus, what was it, 4, 2, 6 that were in that met up in the middle of town.
And they went to that camp.
Yeah, it looks like they were rejoining each other at the camp there.
Yeah, I think the total number is 10 plus however many two-headed dogs I have. And is a two-headed dog one more encounter or 2? So I'm thinking 12 to 14, depending on how you count it.
It's definitely double the biting power.
Yeah.
You ever seen a goblin in the jaws of a two-headed dog? Rip.
But yes, my concern is if our emissary is attacked by these people, then we might lose the information we're supposed to get. So if we can take out this group first, that'd be a much better way to go, I think.
Well, you got that message thing where you just talk to somebody in the head. Maybe you let Lord Blackrune know.
It doesn't go that far.
See, I don't know magics.
All right. You guys talk on for a little while longer. And eventually a knock is at the door of your room. A voice on the other side says, I have a message for Mr. Bloodscythe.
I approach the door, open the door, and say,
All right, you see a young woman there holding a sealed scroll.
I thank you. And I will give her silver for transferring the message to us.
All right. She nods and looks confused. And then she looks down at the silver in her hand and says, did you need something, sir?
Maybe later.
All right. And then disappears. She looks like she doesn't remember what she was doing up there.
Which is fine.
Neat trick.
And we'll close the door and proceed inside and look at the scroll. I'm assuming it's magical.
Yeah, make a spellcraft check.
Okay.
I'll assist them.
It's not bad.
16 plus 6. So 22.
You can add another 2 to it.
All right.
24.
The only thing on the note is a pretty complex magical diagram. And also fastened with a little adhesive is a piece of chalk to the paper as well. The you know from your study of magic that this is some sort of focusing circle, a way for someone to teleport with less error.
So basically, I will take the diagram and ask everybody to move out of the way, please. And I will sketch the exact diagram upon the floor and with a piece of chalk.
Okay.
And then once I am finished, I will I will double check my work and then step out of the way.
All right.
It is always fascinating watching you magic folks do your thing.
As you finish sketching the circle and step back, you can see that the interior of it begins to glow with a baleful green light. A gust of wind picks up around the common room which you're all staying in, and you see the slowly the shutters of the room begin to close, and then the curtains close after them, but still gently flapping in the now unusual and unaccountable breeze. There's a brief flash of green light, and a man stands before you. You recognize him easily. He is part of the Lord Blackrune's inner circle. Sarth, the Wand-Scarred, a veteran battle mage, and of course, Blackrune's magical advisor. His face is a nest of grotesque red scars on one side, and the face of a sort of a bitter-looking older man on the other. He says, excellent. You did wonderful work, he says, stepping over the rune that you carved. I won't be here long, so...
I give him a nod of acknowledgement and basically a salute of respect.
Okay.
Same thing, but Jeb has Seth, you old bastard. Nice to see you again.
Sarth looks at you kind of with a sort of his usual look of disdain he gives toward lessers, and says, I won't be here long. I'm very busy, but you have an important job here to do. The mission to which you have been tasked is not going to be simple, and I'm afraid the timeline is going to be not hurried, but definitely tense. Lord Drayden Blackrune has asked me to ask you to establish a beachhead, a place that we can call our own in order to move information and troops in secret. For now. Naturally, we'll be coming in full force in a few months, a year at the outset. But we want a place of secrecy and security, and more importantly, we need you to keep it out of the eyes of the enemy.
Speaking of the enemy, Valric Allegor, you want to let old Sarth know what y'all found?
Well, there seems to be a small detachment of at least 10 soldiers from the duchy.
The Lemro resistance. You know, we had some information that they might be sending someone after you once we rooted out the spies in our midst. I will leave it up to you. Their forces are weak, and frankly, honestly, I don't know what they could possibly be doing here other
They
than...
got dogs, Sarth. They got fucking dogs with 2 heads.
That explains some things, yes. All right, that's a little bit different. So they are planning to attack you think?
Well, they definitely...
Yeah.
They definitely know we're here.
Well, they're fools at any rate, but if they intend on attacking you, I suggest you either let them do it or beat them to it, but make sure they don't make it to the capital.
Well, the plan was to actually set up an ambush outside of town, so it was outside the wondering eyes of the citizens here, and we figured that since they Allegor here heard them talk about they were going to wait till we weren't seen, we would just have them follow us out and we'd perform our own ambush on them.
Okay. That seems like a decent enough plan.
We were just talking about that right before we received your message.
He thinks for a moment. Very well. He reaches into his robe. The man is despite how much he tries to hide it behind thick robes, he has a hunched back. And one of his arms is just as scarred as the side of his face. But he seems to rarely use it, only basically keeping it covered in thick wool gloves and coats. He reaches into one of the many pouches in his coat and says, "Here you are. Something to soften them up." He slides you a scroll across the nearby table and says, "But on to our business. You have 3 main objectives currently. 1, I need you to stay out of Emerald Hill, the capital here, and particularly stay away from Castle Greenvale. Those are off-limit zones, particularly unless you absolutely have to. Not only until we get a better foothold in the area, and of course, more information, do I want you entering those areas."
Wait, do you? Or does the Lord?
I speak for the Lord.
Do you now?
Treat my words as his own.
All right there, Seth, you sneaky bastard. All right.
Right. The second objective, and this is one you will be actively working towards, Fortress Iker Black, the ancestral home of Lord Blackruin, was sealed when his ancestor Herjek the Twisted was cast down as ruler of this valley. It has been inaccessible to people both allied with us and not since those days. We need to find a way to get into it. Herjek had to have left a back door in his enchantments. You'll be looking for those back doors in the course of this excursion, as best you can, after all. There's magic in there that can basically bring this place to its knees if coupled with the right amount of martial force. And finally, and this is your most urgent current objective, 3 locations are good potential places to set up our base encampment. He pulls out a map and puts it on the table. Here, at Okermoss Tower. He points for which is in the southwest portion of the map. He points to a place in the northeast portion of the map. Here, at Deep Mist Canyon. And then at the southeast portion of the map. Here, the Old Elven Sepulchre. Any of these places would serve our aims quite admirably. I leave it up to you to choose which one you want to get. If you're lucky, maybe even get all 3, but do not overextend your reach. We don't need to be too loud just yet. And more importantly, you need to make sure that the Duchy of Limro's assassins don't live at all. If any of them get away and head to Emerald Hill and get to the ears of those in Castle Greenvale, well, it will certainly complicate things for us. All right, you have your orders. I will take my leave. One more thing. He hands you 3 more scrolls. These are for you when you need them. Other methods of contacting me. I probably won't be back here unless specifically called. I have a lot of work to do in Limro. Goodbye, he says, and teleports without much ceremony. The rune you drew on the ground begins to burn away in a slender line of red fire, leaving nothing but unscarred wood on the floor, and the shutters and curtains slowly begin to open themselves again.
Neat trick.
Neat tricks.
It's a shame we couldn't use that circle to get us where we needed to go, huh? So which one we want to go to? I love the idea of hanging out with a bunch of dead elves. But
Well, first of all, I say let's kill what's right outside our town right this
All right.
second.
All right, let's
I
take.
agree.
Okay, sorry. You guys are making a decision to do that, but let's take a quick break. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Right.
Sounds good.